what actions will you take to protect people like me and my classmates from this happening? I apologize.
No, you're good. Thank you. So I'm glad that you're talking about this in the most personal, powerful terms possible. It's the only way that we're going to get the change that you want and that you deserve and that we need as a country. In the history of the United States, the big things that have happened that needed to happen did not come from people who were already in positions of power or trust. It so often came from young people who forced the issue. We think about the civil rights advances in the 1960s. Though Lyndon Baines Johnson signed them into law, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, it was young people at lunch counters or on Greyhound buses in the Deep South or crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge who made that happen. They forced people in power to do the right thing. You're forcing people in power to do the right thing right now. You're right, there's no reason, no explained reason that we lose more than 30,000 of our fellow Americans to gun violence every year. That we have these mass shootings in schools, little kiddos in Sandy Hook, high school students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. In North Carolina right now, we're so grateful for Riley's courage, running to, not away from the gunfire, sacrificing himself to save the lives of others. But we don't want any more heroes like that. We don't want anyone to have to contemplate doing that. Your powerful question, the way in which you ask it, my youngest, 8-year-old Henry, coming home from school last spring after having gone through an active shooter drill. His first grade teacher corralling him and his fellow students into a closet so that they could be prepared for what they think will be inevitable. You may have heard about the shooting at Santa Fe High School in Texas. Very revealing, an interview with one of those students, your age, maybe a little bit older. And the reporter asks her, are you surprised that someone just came into your school and killed your fellow students? And she said, no, I expected it would happen sooner or later. That's wrong. And there is a way for us to change this. Those states that have adopted universal background checks without exceptions have seen a near 50% reduction in gun violence. As president, I want to make sure that we do this for every state, every single person within. Weapons of war, or the derivatives of weapons of war. These were weapons that were designed, engineered, sold to the United States military because they're really good at killing people very effectively, very efficiently, and in very great numbers. And that's exactly what they do. When those weapons are trained against defenseless human beings, people, kids in our schools, the results are as you just described. Though it may not be politically popular everywhere, for your sake, for my kids' sake, for this country's sake, I want to make sure that we stop selling those weapons into our communities. Keep them on the battlefield, which is where they belong, but not inside of our communities. Iowa, like Texas, is a proud gun-owning state for hunting, for self-defense, for collection, for sport, and that's great. Let's make sure that we continue to use firearms responsibly. Let's also make sure that we understand who is trying to purchase those firearms, and if they pose a danger to themselves, to somebody else in our lives, let's make sure that they can't. If they already have a firearm, there are ideas like red flag laws, where if someone is exhibiting a tendency to hurt themselves or others in our lives, there is due process through which we can go to make sure that they are not able to do that, and that firearm is kept from them so that they're not able to use it against any one of us. So these are our 3 concrete steps, from universal background checks to banning weapons of war sold into our communities to red flag laws that can begin to save more lives and make sure that you come into school not worrying about whether you're going to encounter an active shooter. Thanks for the question. Appreciate it.